Hi, this is Ed, and welcome to the Outer Dark. About a month ago, I found a giant reptilian's head in the Pope's own audience hall in the Vatican that had all the hallmarks of a giant worship shrine of some kind. And since there was an absence of any types of Catholicism, at least in the form of symbolism, and the outside architecture of the building matched the inner architecture, that is the snake symbolism, and the fact is the outside architecture having the actual snake's eye with some kind of shredding skin around the eye, I knew that in fact something incredibly strange and ominous had been found within the Vatican. In fact, a coup d'etat of some type, linking back to a pre-monument in the early 1960s, since the actual Pope's audience hall was built within the 70s. But where would we look in order to find out just what happened? Well, there is one person who has talked about the coup d'etat in the Vatican, a person called Father Malachi Martin, who might just be able to give us a few clues and breadcrumbs to follow, and some insights that may confirm our own suspicions. So, stay tuned as the Outer Dark brings you 5 Confessions by Father Malachi Martin. Number 5. First, some context. Who is Malachi Martin? Well, Malachi Martin comes with a whole lot of Vatican street cred. He's actually a high-ranking black Jesuit priest, or was, before he renounced his vows. But there's no doubt that he was a messenger that left a message that was completely contradictory to that which the Vatican projects, spilling the beans in a number of books, which if collectively put together, give us a picture as to just what happened inside the Vatican, namely around the early 1960s. He was educated at the University of Oxford in a whole host of different sciences. In his early years, he became a professor at the Vatican's Pontiff's Biblical Institute, and after he was witness to the mass corruption at the Catholic Church, he eventually renounced his vows and left. But what did he have to say? Well, number 4, in his 1990 non-fiction bestseller, The Keys of Blood, Father Malachi Martin wrote, "Most frightening for John Paul II, he had come up against the immovable presence of a malignant strength in his own Vatican and in certain bishops. It was the knowledgeable churchmen called the Superforce." Malachi Martin tied this event to the beginning of Pope Paul VI's reign in 1963. This also being the year that a number of researchers have stated was the year in which the last Pope of the Vatican was actually stationed, around 1963. The widespread belief is around this time the Pope was actually replaced. I have a longer video of this, of course, but the main conspiracy dates back to a series of photographs in which Pope Paul VI looks much different in his facial features at the beginnings of his reign to the end. That is, his earlobes are changing, and his nose. Have a careful look at the Pope, which they say looks different in both photos. So what is interesting about this is the fact that Malachi Martin asserts that a coup d'etat took place within the Vatican around the same time that a number of conspiracies say and note the difference in the actual papal facial features. This also matches up to the construction and design of the Pope's inner audience hall. Now you might ask, why is this so important? Well, it's important because of this reason. If you were looking for a sudden change in the actual religious system within inside the Vatican, you'd look towards a shift in the actual iconography, a direct worship shift. And that's what you see with the construction of the Pope's audience hall, which was completed within 1971. You see a direct shift in the monumental symbolism and worship identification within the Vatican around the same time as the actual coup d'etat took place. That is only a few years after. So not only do we have Malachi Martin's actual accounts, which cross-inside with the actual accounts of other researchers, but we have direct visual identification of a change of worship within inside the actual Vatican itself. But what else does Malachi Martin have to say? Number 3. He states in the same book, in the same next line as a matter of fact, that, and I quote, "Indeed Paul had alluded soberly to the smoke of Satan which had entered the sanctuary, an oblique reference to the enthronement ceremony by Satanists in the Vatican." So, from this line, what do we conclude? Well, we conclude around the same time that an actual Satanistic ceremony took place in relation to the actual replacement of the Pope himself And the leading plans after this event was the new architectural arrangements within the Vatican, namely the new monument to the snake's head. I think it's fair to say that in this context, we would have to see the actual snake symbolism within the Vatican is actually symbolic of Satan himself. But Father Malachi goes on, and I quote, "Beside the incidents of satanic pedophilia, rites and practices was already documented among certain bishops and priests as widely dispersed in Turin, in Italy, in South Carolina, in the United States. The cultic acts of the satanistic pedophilia are considered by professionals to be the accumulation of the fallen angels' rites." That line might well disturb a lot of people because it seems to connect a lot of dots together. Satan worship, as well as pedophilia, as well as the actual time frame in which the Pope was replaced, and a major different kind of trajectory happened within the Vatican. Number 2. But in fact, we can actually cross-reference what Father Malachi Martin is saying with another direct reference to Satan being within the Vatican from none less than an actual archbishop who said, in fact, that Satan had entered the Vatican. He was entered, he commenced, but I have not heard that anyone has seen him leave. We must pray that he will go away. This quote is from the 11th of the 27th, 1996. As you can see here from this newspaper clipping, the Archbishop namely inferred that Satan had entered the Vatican, that a dark force was there, and it entered around the same time that Father Malachi Martin in fact said it entered. Remember what an archbishop is. It is one of the highest echelons of power within the Catholic Church. So this again comes from a high level insider within the actual Catholic Church establishment itself, that indeed Satan has entered the Vatican. Number 1. So what does this all mean? Well, it goes a long way to explain the installation of the monument, since according to Father Malachi Martin, there was a satanic coup d'etat within the Vatican around 1963, and this is when the smoke of Satan flowed from the papacy, as in his own words. Indeed, you see in the actual monument shrined at the Vatican, because there is no other way to explain this without inserting the adherence to satanic philosophy, given the outside snake symbolism, which matches the inner symbolism as well as the types of information and whistleblows from Father Malachi Martin, who was a high Jesuit priest and served at the echelons of power within the Vatican. And given what we know about the Masonic mystic schools as followers of this channel, and the worldwide hidden order that now indeed has control over the power structures of the world, this inner philosophy within the Vatican seems to match all the outward symbology, at least that projected in the God Art ceremony, as well as a number of places. Now about this time you have to ask some other questions here. Namely, of course, why is there a giant snake memorial within the actual inner audience hall of the Pope? But a number of other questions. Why is the Vatican telescope an anagram for the words Lucifer? Why is there so many kinds of Masonic mystic school symbolism within the Vatican itself? And why are there such high, massive rates of pedophilia? Again, linked to satanic rituals, at least according to Malachi Martin. So there are a number of very large questions that I think need to be answered here, and I will of course stay on the trail, as I know a number of researchers will, trying to connect the dots and figure out what's really going on. But if you did like the video, guys, please give it a thumbs up. I'll be honest with you and say that looking into this stuff is kind of depressing, and it can get you down if you look into it day to day. So if you did like it, give it a thumbs up, and I'd really appreciate that. And let me know what you think in the comments section. As always, this is Ed from the Outer Dark, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.